What's up, everybody? Welcome to Technique Tuesday. It's Hendrix week. So I found out yesterday that our live stream from the fire lesson got deleted because we were playing the actual track. So I wanted to start off today by just reviewing those parts so that we have it documented here on YouTube should you need it. And then I'll get into the concept for today, which is going to be the expression slide, so the thing that Hendrix does a lot. So let me zoom in real quick and go over all the parts to fire. I'm just going to do this real fast, just so that we have them here. And if you want to, review them back, then you can do that. Okay, so what we got here for fire would be. So we had the 11th fret of the A string back to the 10th fret of the A string, right? And these were octave shapes. So we have, and then I go 8 up to 10, and then a D octave. And then the verse part was, so that was 12th fret A, and then 10, 11, 12 on D. Okay, and then we had our pre-chorus part was the 12th fret of G bends while the 13th fret of B holds in place, like that. So we're bending 12 G up and holding 13 in place. Then we go to the chorus, which was a D chord, back to a C chord. So it was. And then I added in that 9th, which was the high E right here. So it had. Then we had that little fill right there, which was 10 sliding into 12A, grabs 10D, pulls off 12D. Okay, and then you had the bridge, which was D power chord, C power chord, A power chord, C power chord, and then your solo. All right, so that should cover most of the parts there, so at least, you kind of get the idea of what's going on. But tonight what we really want to talk about is the expression slide. So that's those crazy sounds you'll hear Hendrix do, like that kind of thing, just like, just kind of like sliding off the note. And I often get asked, well, what's the technique behind that? And there really isn't one. It's just having the confidence to throw it into your licks, like in between your licks and your riffs, and just make it sound good. So, there is some technique to it, of course, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just fill in some space and make it sound psychedelic or wild. That's kind of why it's there. So what I like to do is go for the lower octave of whatever key we're in or whatever chord we're playing, or some kind of harmony within that chord. So let me zoom in again and show you, and we'll kind of get right into it. Okay, so move this over here so you can hear me. Alrighty. So if we're playing like the E7 sharp 9 chord, which we're going to talk about on Theory Thursday, right? We can go. Right, so that kind of stuff is what we're talking about here. So what we're doing is if we play an E7 or an E7 sharp 9, which would be 7th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D, and then the 7th fret of the G. Now you can, of course, put your pinky finger there on the 8th fret of the B string if we wanted to, but you get the general idea, right? Of just getting that chord in place. Right, I just want to be able to have something funky to play. So if we're playing an E chord, our E low octave is right here. right? It's 12th fret of the E string. So if I'm going to try and do an expression slide, then I'm going to aim for that note. Now what I'll do is use my middle finger or my third finger because I want it covering everything else, right? So I only hear the sound that I want, which would be that bass note. And I slide off, right? Now there's no particular place that you slide off to. You're kind of just going for it. So if I take this chord again, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So on the and of 4, that's when I'm going for it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Go ahead and try that. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Again, on that and of 4, we're aiming for the 12th fret of the E string. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. You go ahead and try. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now you notice I'm down picking it. You can also up pick it and get a really cool effect as well. So if you up pick it, you totally get that Hendrix sound, which is that kind of like raked sound there. I'm just gonna adjust this mic for Joel. Okay, so if we go back to the 12th fret right here, top string, right, and if I up strum that and slide off the note, you get that very cool expression slide, right? So if I go back to my chord, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Now we can do that anywhere. So it doesn't just have to be in the key of E. You could do it in A, and if you were doing it in A, then the low octave of the A is up here on the 5th fret, or it's going to be way up here. So maybe you find a harmony of that. So if I'm playing A major, then I target the C sharp, which is going to be the 3rd. So check this out. If I'm going to play an A, and I'm going to have my expression slide go from the 9th fret of the E string, because that is your major 3rd. So I'd have this. Right? Because now I'm going from my major 3rd. Now I could go all the way up to my E, which is my 5th of A. So check this out. Right? And it actually adds a little harmony, and it makes musical sense when you're doing that kind of thing. But it doesn't always have to be a target. You could just go at random. So I'll go back to my my A example again, and just at random pick a note, any note on the E string, and just hit and slide immediately. Check this out from the A. Right, and depending on what kind of sound I'm going for, if I want to woo, woo, then I'm going to go up high. If I want something a little bit more bassier, then of course I would stay down low here. But so there's two ways of looking at it, right? You can pick your theory, meaning like understanding the harmony of the chord and aim for one of those notes, or just go for a real sonic thing and just try and get in and out of the technique real fast. So let me zoom in and show you that stuff, and then we'll break it down even further. Okay, so what I was talking about again is you have your A here, right? And then within the A, you'll have your A octave, your C sharp, which is your major 3rd, and then you have your E, which is your 5th. So I could aim for any of these notes here, here, or here, and they would fit the harmony of the A. So if I'm strumming the chord, what I do is I aim for that target, hit, and immediately slide off. Now I do want to put it in time, so I'd probably aim for beat 4 or the and of beat 4. So again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, And now this time I'll go to my fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Right, and if you notice that when you go to the fifth, it has a different feel, a different sound to it. That's not as bright. It's more like powerful because the fifth is the power chord. It's the octave. Or it's not the octave. It's the perfect fifth. So it creates that power chord feel. Now the other way of doing this would be that up strum that I was talking about. Right. So you could have this. Right. So where I'm coming in, I'm raking the strings this way. Everything's muted with my second finger, except for the target note, which would be, in this situation, the ninth fret of the E string. So go ahead and try that. Place your middle finger on the ninth fret of the top string, and then try and strum toward your face. Yo, what's up, Kendall? Okay, good. So, you pick a harmony, or you just pick a spot and go for it. And then you can do a down strum into it or an up rake into it. A lot of the Hendrix stuff is up, right? If we take a look at Purple Haze. Right there, right? It's an up strum. But you don't want to put too much thought into it. That's like really the point I want to emphasize here. A lot of people will tend to overthink this technique and pay very close attention to what happens right at that point. No, just keep your hand moving, right? And you can either go down or up depending on the style that you're going for. But the idea is that you want it to be expressive, because if you don't put those slides in there when you're playing, let's just say psychedelic rock, blues rock, a la Hendrix, it's just missing a little bit of that flair. Check it out. I'll give you the A-B. Okay, so I'll go back to our initial E7 chord, with and without. Right, and that's cool. That's fine. But now here's with the slide. Right, it just adds a little bit more sauce to make the playing exciting and just like on the edge. And that's what Hendrix was all about, right? Was just way out there, and it was just controlled chaos, but just so beautifully executed. So go ahead and try and put that stuff in there, however you can. And you can also do that in solos, right? So if we take a solo in E, for example. Right, so I'm adding in those little slides and fills to break up the melody a little bit. Now let me give you some A-B. I'll do a few measures without the slide, stop, and then I'll do a few measures with the expression slide. Yeah, that's right. It's a motion slide. Right, now that sounds cool, but now check it out with the slides in there. Right, it just adds a lot more character to what you're playing, and it actually can be a relaxing point for your hand. So especially if you have like a lot of speed going on in one of your licks, then you can use that almost like slingshot with your hand to reset the tension in your hand, to kind of get rid of it, right? Just breathe out, exhale. It's like you're swimming underwater. You come up, take a breath, and you go back down. That's the idea with these emotion slides. Okay, so I'll play a little backing track in E here. I'll just kind of jam on an E thing. You play E pentatonic. and then try and throw in some expression slides, either with an up strum or a down strum. Remember, don't necessarily pick a target. Just try and get the slide in between your licks. Okay, I'll give you a rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. So how did it go for you? Hopefully you're not overthinking the part too much, right? Because I can almost guarantee that if we had Jimi Hendrix here and we asked him, how much do you think about those slides that you're doing? He'd say none. He's just doing it, right? And again, I keep hammering down that point, but just know that that's why. Is because I don't want you to overthink it. Okay, so let me zoom in one more time for you, show you the up strum, the up pick slide, so that you really get it. Okay, so you cover any note on the E string. You kind of fake bar it so that your finger is covering all the strings, it's just not pressing down. You can see right there that I'm covering all the strings, but the pressure point is right here on the fingertip. I come in with an up rate, okay, very light. And then when I get to the note, it's a little bit more of a pop, and that's followed immediately by a slide. Now I can go in either direction. I can go up towards the bridge, or I can go back towards the saddle there, the nut. Okay, now you can try it on some other strings if you like. Try it on A. So nothing fancy. It just makes it sound really cool. So let's review what an emotion slide is. I don't know, who knows if that's even really a technical term. This is what it is. It's a way to break up the tension in your hand. It's a way to push the music sonically into a more of a psychedelic feel, because it's a nonsensical sound. I mean, it's just a sound. It's not really a documented musical entity. And it's a way to take you out of your comfort zone, right? So if you start throwing those things in, you immediately just start to feel a little bit looser. At least I do when I use, because it's not every style that this works for, but if you use it as a technique or a tool, when you get into these kind of funk or blues jams and you throw this in there, oh man, does it feel good, and it sits right in the pocket. So tomorrow we're going to do a Hendrix jam session for our Wednesday jams. And the tracks will lend themselves to use these emotion slides, okay, expression slides. So take the next few minutes or hour or however long you want, really, and just work on different placements on the fretboard with them, and different directions, downs and ups. And remember that you don't want to really go to a note as far as at the end of the slide. You just want to go, right? Just get out of there. Just make sure that it's in time. That is the most important part, right? So if you're putting it on beat 4, then something else is going to happen on beat 1. So you got to know what that's going to be, whether it be another chord or another note in your solo. So don't overextend the slide. Make sure that you're doing it in time properly. Let's see. Sorry, so no questions there. That's fine. If you have any, just shoot me an email, and I'm happy to answer them. But I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Right around 8 o'clock or so for the Hendrix jam session. We'll be throwing in these, and then any other favorite Hendrix licks that you have. So if you have a Hendrix backing track, Joel sent me one. I'm going to be using that. But if you have another favorite Hendrix backing track that you want to throw in the mix for tomorrow, then please just shoot me an email and I'll do that. Until then, you guys enjoy the emotion slides. Don't overthink them, right? They're just meant to be cool and be wild. And the only way we do that is if we're free when we're playing. So go ahead and be free and have fun. Go pull up a Hendrix track right now and just start throwing these things in there. They're a good hang. We'll see you guys tomorrow.